Chapter 61 Mr. Zhao, come here often when you have time. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next second, the impatience on her face disappeared, replaced by the meticulous seriousness. It's easier said than done. Qin Luo's information is not only about summarizing wrong knowledge points, but also about problem-solving methods and ideas. The most frightening thing is that for each knowledge point, he can use 3 or even more than 3 methods to make it and explain the profound things in simple language, so that people can understand it at a glance. The more she looked at Lin Shanshan, the more frightened she became. In the end, she kept exclaiming, "Can this problem be solved like this? That if it wasn't for fear of scaring you, I could use 10. Qin Luo smiled faintly, full of pride. Didi at this moment, the clock chimed briefly. 2 hours, time is up. Only at this time did Lin Shanshan come back to her senses. We're adding 2 hours. Lin Shanshan said without raising her head, add 2 hours. Are you my computer? How long do you want to be on? The price of each class is doubled. Lin Shanshan added when she noticed Qin Luo's strangeness, doubled, that is, 400 per class. Scary. I don't have time. Qin Luo said and opened the door. 1 minute, 2 minutes. Several minutes passed, and Lin Shanshan didn't move at all. Miscalculation, miscalculation, Qin Luo's heart is bleeding. Lin Shanshan's silence in the room was completely different from his script. What about Sangha thatched cottage? Not bad for money. Why do you only bid once and then stop calling? Lin Shanshan clenched her teeth. It was the first time someone had rejected her in a long time, and it was repeated twice. Isn't it just great to learn? What a great thing, hum. At the door, Qin Luo declined Yang Peishan's invitation to stay for dinner and opened the door. And many more. Ms. Yang, Yang Peishan took out a bunch of keys expressionlessly and put them in front of Qin Luo. This is the key to the room, come here often when you have time. Key. Cough, is this really my mother? This problem is quite serious, okay? That's probably not good. Oh, there are more than a dozen cameras installed in the house, and there are basically no dead ends. Yang Peishan shrugged her shoulders and said indifferently, of course, if you feel that your privacy is violated, you can ask me. Haha, more than a dozen monitoring, but also said so indifferently. Lin Shanshan's mother is even more ferocious than a flood and beast. Yenqing University, the top-ranked university in China, is the dream hall of countless Chinese students, a holy place in the minds of parents, and a goal in the mouth of teachers. Wang Xuecai, a professor of Yenqing University, an academician of the Chinese National Academy of Sciences, and a great figure in mathematics, once won the Hua Luogang Award, which is known as the Chinese Fields Medal. He is one of the most outstanding mathematicians in China. At this moment, on his desk, there is an answer sheet and hundreds of scratch papers. This records the process of Zhou's conjecture demonstration. It has been 2 days since he got this answer sheet, and Wang Xuecai has hardly closed his eyes in the past 2 days. Hundreds of scratch papers and dozens of used-up pencil leads were the answer sheets he handed over. At this moment, Wang Xuecai's face was flushed, and his bloodshot eyes flashed with excitement, and his whole body was trembling uncontrollably. Starting today, Zhou Haizhong's name will be included in the history of mathematics. Zhou's conjecture has finally been proved. It will be sublimated from conjecture to theorem. Prepare the car, I'm going to see Zhou Haizhong. Chapter 62 Unusual High School Students. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the office of the vice-chairman of the Yenjing Mathematics Research Association, academician Song Baoguo was lying at the desk at the moment. His eyes were bloodshot, unkempt, and black ink stains could be seen everywhere on his clothes, as if he had not closed his eyes for days and nights. In fact, this is indeed the case. Like Wang Xuecai, he has not slept for 2 days and 2 nights. In the past 2 days, he spent almost all of his time outside of eating and going to the toilet on proving conjectures. Finally, after rigorous argumentation, the accuracy of the answer sheet was finally proved. With the answer sheet in front of him, he perfectly proved Zhou's conjecture. It took Song Baoguo 2 days to check countless times, and he didn't find the slightest mistake. Zhou's conjecture, this problem that has plagued the mathematics community for more than 10 years, has finally been proved. Song Baogua suddenly stood up and slapped his hands on the desk heavily, making a loud noise. Ping! Teacher! Song Yuan! The next moment, the door of the office was pushed open, and a group of young people poured in. Some of them are students of Song Baogua, and some are staff of the Association of Mathematics Association. Song Baogua, you are the vice president of the Digital Federation Research Association. His every move affects the hearts of too many people. Song Baogua has not left the office for 2 days in a row, and even lunch is delivered to the door, which has to make them get nervous. Fortunately, Song Baogua finally came out. Prepare the car, I'm going to see Zhou Haizhong. Song Baogua said eagerly, he can't wait, he wants to see Zhou Haizhong soon. Cough, it's getting late, teacher, why don't we go after dinner? The young student asked tentatively. Eat, eat, eat all day long. If you use your time to eat in academia, you won't be able to prove Zhou's conjecture. Han Meng. For a time, a group of masters and doctors were frightened, and they didn't even dare to let out the air. If Zhou's conjecture was so easy to prove, it wouldn't have troubled the academic world for more than 10 years, and everyone was slandering it. Seemingly aware of the abnormality of the crowd, Song Baogua's face turned gloomy again, his icy eyes swept across the crowd, and he scolded coldly, "Humph, someone else. A high school student can prove Zhou's conjecture, but your group of doctors can't prove it. You should think about it." After all, he left the office without saying a word. A high school student proved Zhou's conjecture. For a time, everyone's eyes widened, and their eyes were full of astonishment. That is Zhou's conjecture. Could it be that Zhou's conjecture in mathematics is not elementary school mathematics? Wang Xuecai, Song Baogua, Zhou Haizhong, and even some of the great figures in the foreign mathematics world were helpless to Zhou's conjecture. How could a high school student prove it? Senior brother, what the teacher said wouldn't be true, would it? Probably not. After all, that is Zhou's conjecture. The young man thought for a while and said, I think it's really possible. After all, the teacher's temperament is not like a joke. Another young man said, Song Baogua is not a person who likes to joke. Everyone was shocked, looked at each other and chased Song Baogua away. Not only Song Baogua was curious, but they were also very curious. What kind of high school students can solve the problems that have plagued the mathematics community for more than 10 years? Chapter 63 This Champion, I Want It. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Full marks. Still full marks. When the final result of the Digital Alliance was put in front of everyone, they were not surprised at all, because Zhao Ming is a scholar. He should be like this. In Beishan No. 4 Middle School, the auditorium was decorated with lanterns and filled with a grand and festive atmosphere. The relevant leaders and professors of the Municipal Education Bureau and the Digital Federation came to the scene in person, and they will present awards to Qin Luo and other students, at 10 o'clock in the morning. The award ceremony officially opened. First, Su Xiangyang, director of the Jiangzhou Education Bureau, delivered a speech, and then Li Xueming, the head of the Data Union, delivered a speech. Then Qin Luo and several award winners came to the stage to accept the award. To Qin Luo's surprise, Huang Zhen and Lin Shanshan actually won the second prize, and they have the minimum qualifications to go to the provincial team and go to the whole country. Qin Luo stood on the stage with his left hand covering the glass and the quilt, and his right hand holding a prize of 3,000 yuan. As the champion, he was asked to speak. I just want to say one thing. This is the first time I stand here, and the last time I stand here. We will go further in the future. Thank you. The audience burst into warm applause. Chen Shuqing and other teachers at Beishan No. 4 Middle School were full of relief, and Qin Luo's parents were even more proud. For a long time, Qin Luo was the tail of the crane, but now he has grown into the child of someone else's family. After the brief award ceremony, it was the provincial team expedition ceremony. Qin Luo and a group of 5 winners of the second prize or above were invited to join the provincial team, preparing for the national competition a week later. The opportunity is rare, and no one refuses it. A red invitation letter was distributed to everyone, with a ticket attached to it. One day later, they set off to Chengdu and Chongqing, as soon as I received the invitation letter, the system's prompt sound came as promised. Ding, the host has unlocked the achievement, the champion of the Digital Alliance, and the reward for the tyrant is 999 points. Please make persistent efforts. 999 points. Qin Luo only felt at ease physically and mentally. Due to the upgrade of Taekwondo 2 days ago, Qin Luo's academic hegemony value had bottomed out, and now he finally recovered. Host, Qin Luo, age, 17. Math LV4, 0/10,000, language LV1. English LV1. Physical LV1. Biological LV1. The balance of Shuaba is worth 2,387 points. There is still 7,316 points left to upgrade. Just when Qin Luo was thinking about how to earn academic hegemony, a new task has been released. Ding! Task release, provincial team raises its prestige. Please host to win the gold medal in an overwhelming manner. Reward, scholar worth 10,000. 10,000.10 million, 10,000 points of experience. Qin Luo's eyes widened directly. If he wins this 10,000 learning hegemony value, he can improve his math ability to level 5 in one breath. I'm sorry, I want the gold medal. The next day, when the first ray of sunshine in the morning shone through the window, Qin Luo's eyes had already opened. 10 minutes by bike to the school, a bus had already stopped by the roadside. Seeing Qin Luo calling, Chen Shuqing hurriedly stuck his head out of the car. Get in the car quickly, ready to go. The flight ticket was at 9 a.m., and it was already past 7 o'clock, and the time for the plane to take off was getting closer and closer. Qin Luo nodded obediently. 5 minutes later, the bus full of talents from Beishan City galloped away. The plane took off on time at 9 o'clock, and arrived at Chengdu Chongqing International Airport 2 hours later. Qin Luo and his entourage were arranged to Chengdu Chongqing University. Meeting them will be another round of challenges. There are a total of 45 talented scholars in various urban areas, and the most powerful winners need to be determined to participate in the national competition 5 days later. Chapter 64 Competitors. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Be calm during the exam, don't be in a hurry. Don't be afraid, I believe that it will be no problem to pass the rematch with your strength. Chen Shuqing patiently sat and worked for everyone. After finally getting to the point where he is today, he was worried that Qin Luo and others would break down in their hearts. Mr. Chen, you have said this sentence 8 times. Qin Luo waved his hand indifferently and said, worry. As the owner of the system, he has nothing to worry about. Chen Shuqing's face was dark and a little unhappy. This is my experience summed up in previous exams, and it is the magic weapon in the exam room. The mentality in the exam room is the most important. 9 times. This time, Qin Luo did not speak, but patiently listened to Chen Shuqing's teaching of magic weapons. About half an hour later, when Chen Shuqing was still in the mood, everyone's cell phones rang. Please gather in the school auditorium 10 minutes later, all the contestants of the mathematical union competition. Finally, he could stop listening to Chen Shuqing's chatter. Qin Luo stood up suddenly, and then took out the lounge like lightning. The remaining few people looked at each other and rushed out. Mr. Chen, let's gather first. Lin Shanshan's crisp voice came from a distance. No one likes to babble, and they are no exception. Chengdu Chongqing University, the most prestigious college in Southwest Province. All the students who can stand in this college are at the level of academic masters. The college auditorium is an old building, built in 1898, after the vicissitudes of the years. Let the breath of the years be born out of thin air. This is the heritage of history and the traces of the years, standing here, as if. Returning to the autumn of 1898, 10 minutes later, Qin Luo stepped into the auditorium. The first thing you see is the clearly defined seats, which have been set up as an examination room. It was not flowers and applause that greeted the scholars, but countless exam questions. You are Qin Luo, right? Suddenly, a full-fledged voice came from behind Qin Luo. Turning to look, a man came over. This man was wearing a suit that was out of tune with his walking position, with gold-rimmed glasses, and looked gentle. Even Qin Luo had to admit that in terms of looks alone, this person already had half of his own face value. Qin Luo asked, "Who are you?" "Bai Chong, from Chengyu No. 7 Middle School." The man smiled and said, I've seen your grades, they're pretty good. Qin Luo smiled and said humbly, I've won awards. You don't need to be humble. The man shrugged and said, even if you are doing well, there is only one champion in this game, and that's me. Hey, it's a competitor. Qin Luo's eyelids jumped and he said with a smile, so you are my opponent? That's right, you made a mistake, you are not my opponent. Leaving this sentence, the man turned and walked away. Looking at the back of the man leaving, Qin Luo looked confused. He had seen someone who was pretending to be forceful, but he had never seen such a forceful person. Isn't he afraid of blowing the roof off? Ding bell bell. The short bell rang, and the exam was about to start. At 1.55 points, the invigilator began to read out the test rules. The rules are very simple, it takes 3 hours to complete the answer sheet. During the answering process, you must not look around or go to the toilet. You are allowed to hand in the test paper after half an hour of the test. Next, the test paper and scratch paper will be distributed. Chapter 65 Holding the Grass, there is a person behind. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After the exam rules were read out, the exam papers were quickly distributed to everyone. The introduction of the test paper is divided into 3 questions. The first question, let A and B be 2 points on the hyperbola xy/2 equals z, the point n, 1, 2, is the midpoint of the line segment AB, and the perpendicular bisector of the line segment AB intersects the hyperbola at the 2 points CD. Please determine the value range of z. Damn it, is it so difficult? Teacher, you want to kill us, don't you? I don't know about coaching. Just seeing the first question, the whole auditorium was full of wailing. This question seems to be very short, but the knowledge used is very rich. It covers almost all the knowledge points of the entire high school, even if the people sitting are at the level of academic masters. But when they get this question, they can't help but scratch their heads. It's hard, it's really hard. Hey, who came up with this question? Isn't this a deliberate scolding? Qin Luo saw through everything at a glance. Without too much hesitation, he just picked up the pen and started working. Let the equation of AB be, y equals k, x, 1, plus 2, bring into the hyperbolic equation, so the value range of z is, -1, 0, u, 0, plus infinity. Qin Luo hurriedly wrote down the problem-solving process. Until now, he only spent 3 minutes. Get 10 points. Qin Luo let out a long sigh of relief, burning a lot of brain cells to death. After checking the accuracy, Qin Luo looked up and looked around. A boy on the left is trembling all over, while a girl on the right is biting the barrel of a pen and sweating profusely. As far as Qin Luo's eyes can see, no one is writing. Is it really that difficult? Qin Luo doesn't think so. Suddenly, Qin Luo's eyes narrowed, and he saw Bai Chong sitting in the corner. Unlike others, Bai Chong is working hard to write a book. A black gel pen drew beautiful arcs in his hand, and in the next moment, the answer was already on the paper. Well, to be able to become the top student of Chengyu No. 7 Middle School, there are really 2 brushes, but Qin Luo didn't care. Bai Chong had 2 brushes, but he had dozens of them. What surprised Qin Luo was that Lin Shanshan was also writing quickly. Well, it seems that I do have the potential to be a teacher. In just a few days, I turned a scumbag into a scholar. Suddenly, Qin Luo's eyes dimmed, and he looked up. Hold the grass, there is someone. That I saw a serious invigilator in a Chinese tunic suit staring at him intently. Those hot eyes seemed to melt him in the next second. What to watch? Hurry up and do the question. Feng Huadong said coldly. Feng Huadong, the invigilator this time, is also the president of the Southwest Digital Federation Association. Teacher, people are scary, but they are scary to death. Scared you? You almost scared us to death. Feng Huadong thought to himself. Zhao conjectured that a problem that had plagued the mathematics community for more than 10 years was solved by a high school student. When he heard the news, he was almost scared to death. No one could have imagined that a student who was still in high school could prove Zhou's conjecture. I scared you to death. Hee, hilarious. Hurry up and do the question. Li shouted, and Feng Huadong turned around and left. Are all the current invigilators so fierce? Qin Luo shook his head and devoted himself to solving the problem again. A few minutes later, Qin Luo began to write quickly again. Chapter 66 Teacher, hand in the papers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Damn, why is it so difficult? In the corner of the auditorium, Bai Chong held his head in his hands, his face ashen. He answered the first question very smoothly. It only took half an hour to solve the answer, but when he saw the second question, he was stunned. What the hell is this? Column of positive integers, n equals 1 and plus 1 equals n1, n and plus n, and less than or equal to n. Find the positive integer of the minimum value, so that n equals 2016. Bai Chong was about to collapse. He thought that the re-examination questions would be difficult, but he didn't expect it to be so difficult. This is beyond the content of high school, okay? Can anyone do this kind of question? Bai Chong looked up at Qin Luo, but he wanted to see how much Qin Luo weighed, but the next moment, his eyes widened. I saw Qin Luo holding a gel pen in his hand and writing quickly. Damn it, it's impossible. Bai Chong's eyes suddenly widened with disbelief. How could Qin Luo move his pen? Bai Chong was completely stunned. Originally, he was more confident than Qin Luo, but now Qin Luo is writing quickly. Impossible. He absolutely wrote it indiscriminately. He couldn't possibly be wrong. Bai Chong shook his head desperately and refocused on the answer sheet. Suddenly, he had a flash of inspiration. His eyes suddenly became clear, and he found a way to solve the problem. Before he could think about it, he quickly picked up the pen and started writing. In just half an hour, he had already released the answer. Fight with me, you are still tender. Bai Chong raised his head, and a smug smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. In just 1 hour, he had already solved 2 problems, which was also ranked the highest in the history of the Digital Union. Unfortunately, the next moment, the smile on the corner of his mouth stiffened on his face. Teacher, hand in the papers. Qin Luo raised his hand and said, I have to say that this set of test papers is very good. Even if Qin Luo is now at the LV4 level, it is still difficult to solve the questions. It took Qin Luo nearly an hour to solve the answer. For someone else, this is simply impossible, but unfortunately, it met Qin Luo, and Qin Luo is determined to win the gold medal this time. Carry out an assignment. This sentence was like a thunderbolt that shook the crowd all at once. Such a difficult topic, how could it be handed in just an hour? For a while, everyone's eyes turned to Qin Luo. Brother, are we doing a set of test papers? Can you all have fun? Ding, catch Bai Chong's resentment plus 36. Ding, catch Su Hui. You may not believe it if you say it, I never thought about squeezing it dry. You, Qin Luo looked at everyone's eyes, full of helplessness. Qin Luo, you have to think clearly, this is a provincial team, and everyone here is a master. Once the papers are submitted in advance, there is no chance to come back. Feng Huadong squinted his eyes and smiled. I've been able to check it twice, no problem at all. Qin Luo replied. Since you insist on doing this, that's fine. Feng Huadong was not forcing it. He really has nothing to say about Qin Luo, a young genius who can prove Zhou's conjecture. Thank you, Teacher Feng, for your understanding. Qin Luo got up and walked outside the examination room. 25-1 left 24. Everyone was nervous for a while. The question that was supposed to take 3 hours to complete was abruptly advanced by Qin Luo by 2 hours, which made them extremely nervous. Ma Dan, teach the army 2 hours in advance, just pretend to be a criminal. Another scholar from Chengyu No. 7 Middle School bit his pen cap and frowned. Chapter 67 The ease of being a scholar is beyond your imagination. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Qin Luo must not do the third question. Seeing Qin Luo leaving, Bai Chong sneered in his heart. Like Qin Luo, he got full marks in the city-level joint test. Everyone's level is similar. Why can you submit the paper 2 hours in advance? There is only one answer, that is, Qin Luo didn't finish it at all. It turned out to be a silver wax-head gun, which is really disappointing. However, he thinks so, and some people don't think so. Damn it, I don't do it. The DZ City Math League contestant shouted, and then his eyes went black and he fainted on the ground. Doctor. Feng Huadong suddenly became anxious, pushed open the door, and shouted loudly. Soon a group of medical staff rushed in, the first aid, the stretcher carrying the stretcher, and the fainted student were quickly sent out of the auditorium. Contrasted with the panic of the school, the players were much quieter. For this kind of thing, they have long been surprised every year, 1 or 2 faints during the municipal exams, not to mention the provincial exams, outside the auditorium, looking at the students being carried out. Qin Luo's mouth twitched again. Originally, he thought that the person who could enter the provincial team should say that the psychological quality should not be bad, but he did not expect that 1.5 hours later, he would be carried out. With this kind of psychological quality, you also want to participate in a national competition. It's kind of funny to think about. Mr. Feng, is this classmate okay? Qin Luo kindly asked. You kid, hurry up, go as far as you can. Feng Huadong turned his head and glared at Qin Luo angrily. It's this kid's coquettish operation that stimulates other people, and that's why someone faints. You blame me? It's not that Qin Luo has never seen someone who turns his face and doesn't recognize him, but he has never seen someone turn so fast. Feng Huadong gave Feng Huadong a blank look, and Qin Luo opened the examination room. Look, someone is coming out. At the door, a group of older young women were looking forward to it. They are the family members of the contestants. Most of them are natives of Chengdu and Chongqing, and there are also journalists carrying cameras. The purpose of their coming here is also very simple, to interview first-hand information. Provincial Mathematics League, the province's top mathematics competition. Countless scientists and scholars come out from here. Among them, there is a good chance that there will be people who will change the world. Classmate, are the exam questions difficult this time? A microphone was passed to Qin Luo's mouth while he was speaking. If you were lifting a little higher, it would touch my nose. Qin Luo shrugged. It's quite simple, simple. This is not a standard answer. Shouldn't you say something is difficult, and how to work hard to overcome it? Then classmate, you must have good grades in normal times. 2 months ago, I was the tail of the crane. The reporter's eyes lit up with excitement flashing in his eyes. You must have studied very hard in the past 2 months. The reporter asked excitedly. Well, in order to improve my grades, I read more than 20 books every day. Everyone was stunned for a while. The script was not written like this. Can you follow the normal routine? I read 20+ books a day. Is that to read? That is simply flipping and playing. Seeing that no one was talking, Qin Luo said with a smile, do you think it's easy to be a scholar? Must be very tired. The reporter's eyes lit up. Being a scholar is actually quite easy. Quite easy. Everyone looked at each other, and the enthusiasm in the eyes of the reporters disappeared. No wonder the paper was handed in so quickly. It turned out to be just a scumbag. Chapter 68 The Correct Way to Open a Scholar. You are listening at novelfull.audio. No wonder the paper was handed in so quickly. It turned out to be just a scumbag. Heh, it made me nervous for nothing. I just wondered why someone could submit the papers in advance, even before my son came out. Who is your son? Bai Chong. A group of older young women exclaimed one after another, with envy in their eyes. Bai Chongna is a famous scholar in Chengdu and Chongqing. At this moment, a pair of medical staff walked out slowly, supporting a student. After emergency treatment, the student has regained consciousness, but he can no longer continue the exam. When they saw new prey, the reporters lost interest in Qin Luo. This kind of scumbag, who loves to interview who will interview, anyway, they will not interview. Classmate, what's the matter? Are you feeling unwell? The long gun and short gun aimed at the student. By the way, have you finished the test paper? In an instant, his face turned gloomy. He wanted to finish it, but he couldn't. He ignored the reporter's questions, broke free from the nurse's support, and went straight to Qin Luo. He asked sincerely, Shueba, please accept me as your apprentice. Reporter. Parent. What's going on? Isn't he a scumbag? Suddenly everyone was stunned, their eyes widened and they looked at Qin Luo with disbelief. The scumbag turned into a master of the school. This plot does not have such twists and turns. Classmate, what the hell is going on? The reporter asked with a bewildered face. He's done. The injured student said seriously, even he finished the third question, that it turned out that he took advantage of the opportunity to be carried out and sneaked a glance. Qin Luo's test paper, he clearly saw that Qin Luo's test paper was full of answers. The one who can sit there is already a scholar, and the one who can write is already a scholar among the scholars. What is it that can finish writing? Learn God. After it's done, shouldn't it be normal? You are the academic masters in various urban areas, okay? Classmate, isn't it normal to finish the answer? Normal. Hee. The difficulty of the exam questions this time is more than 10 times the usual, and it is impossible for anyone to finish them. He said again, 7 bridges theory. Are you sure, classmate? Very sure. The boy nodded, although he was very dizzy at the time, he absolutely believed his eyes, quiet, deadly quiet, in an instant, the originally noisy scene became terrifyingly quiet, everyone stared at Qin Luo in disbelief, after a while, there was a burst of mountain and tsunami exclamations. Calm and calm, this may be the correct way to open the school. Classmates, please allow me to give you an exclusive interview. Like a drop of water dripping from a hot oil pan, a group of reporters exploded the pan in an instant, they rushed forward desperately, trying to pass the microphone to Qin Luo's mouth. Impossible, absolutely impossible, what kind of a scholar is he? Only my son is a scholar. Bai Cheng's mother, blushing, shouted hoarsely, as the most outstanding student in the best high school in Chengyu City, he has absolute confidence in Bai Cheng, no one can surpass Bai Cheng, not even Qin Luo. Jingle bell. Suddenly, a short bell rang, immediately afterwards, a large group of contestants rushed out, and the 3-hour answer sheet time has come, and everyone has handed in the papers. Chapter 69. Have you seen Chengyu City at 4 in the morning? You are listening at novelfull.audio. It's over, how can the third question be so difficult? Let's not talk about the third question, even the first question is difficult to slag. I wrote all the proofs, and it all depends on why. The second question is solved a little, and the third question is directly blank. The Beishan City representative team, with a nervous look on their faces, said as they walked. By the way, Qin Luo, you should have finished submitting the papers ahead of time, right? Huang Zhen asked with a smile. Qin Luo stared into the distance intently, and said slowly, let's be so. Learning God is so, it is the lifelong pursuit of learning masters. Needless to say, they all know it well. I really envy the big guy who got the perfect score. When can I be as good as a boss? Host learning hegemony plus 56. A bit low. Qin Luo wondered if he was squeezing them well, full score. Excellent. Hearing the bragging coming from his ear, Bai Cheng's mouth raised a disdainful smile, who dares to call himself excellent in front of him? My son is out. Let's talk about how the exam went. Seeing Bai Cheng coming out, the older female hurried up to meet him. Is it very easy? Well, it's not difficult for me. Bai Cheng shrugged his shoulders and said indifferently. How many points? The woman asked again. 48 to 50, Bai Cheng said, minimum 48. Everyone took a deep breath for a while. This provincial team re-examination, the 3 questions totaled 50 points, but Bai Cheng only deducted 2 points, which is simply appalling. This is enough to rank among the top teams in the history of the provincial team. Good son. The woman shouted excitedly. With that look, I can't wait to tell everyone that Bai Cheng is his son. Ding. Being ridiculed by the scumbags, the host's academic power plus 12. Ding. Being ridiculed by older women, the host's academic power plus 45. It is detected that the Shuaba is taunted and the task is automatically released, the despair of the scumbag. Please use your absolute strength to tell the scumbags what cruelty is. Experience value plus 5,000, 1 ability value added card. The ability value added card can improve the host's individual ability within 1 hour, capability card. Qin Luo's eyes began to sharpen. 48 points, Is it very high? Qin Luo said after hesitating for a moment. Is 48 points not high? It's really not high. With a helpless smile, Qin Luo turned and left. Seeing Qin Luo leaving, the corners of Bai Chang's mouth rose, and he smiled disdainfully. He has won the championship. Ding! The ridicule of the scumbags is the best nourishment for the Shueba, and the Shueba's value is plus 123. Early the next morning, Qin Luo and all the team members gathered in the dormitory together with Chen Shuqin, waiting for the announcement of the final result. At 10 o'clock today, the Southwest Mathematics Federation will officially announce the results of the rematch. As the time got closer, excitement, anxiety, and panic spread in a small lounge. At this moment, Qin Luo suddenly made a sound. He looked at everyone with a smile, and then slowly said, "Have you seen Chengyu City at 4 in the morning? Chengyu City at 4 in the morning?" Everyone looked at each other with admiration in their eyes. Student God is indeed a student God. He gets up at 4 in the morning to read. No, I'm going to learn from Shueshen and stay up all night tonight. Gong Yi took out his mobile phone and ordered 10 cups of coffee. Chapter 70. He is a perfect communicator. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Different from the excitement of others, Lin Shanshan is unusually calm. Others don't know Qin Luo, but they know it. He's not like someone who wakes up at 4 in the morning. Qin Luo raised his hands and pressed down, signaling everyone to be quiet. Boss, please instruct. Actually, you don't need to order that much coffee, because even I myself have never seen Chengyu at 4 in the morning. In an instant, a cold current roared, and the temperature in the lounge plummeted by 2 or 3 degrees. If eyes can kill, Qin Luo has been killed 800 times by Gong Yi. Ding! The resentment of the scumbag was detected, the host's mastery value +1. The corners of Qin Luo's mouth twitched wildly, saying that you may not believe it, I didn't intend to ask for your academic hegemony. He just wanted to mediate the atmosphere, but after thinking about it carefully, Qin Luo didn't feel any guilt. No matter what he said, at least he changed the panic atmosphere in the lounge, right? Resentment and panic. Qin Luo felt that resentment was much better. Suddenly, the team member who ordered the coffee slapped his thigh, and Gao Shen exclaimed, "I'm sorry. What's the situation?" Everyone frowned. He didn't answer, but hurriedly took out his mobile phone. "Hey, I don't want those 10 cups of coffee. What, can't I go back?" Gossiping. Qin Luo only felt that the resentment in the air had increased a lot. He touched his nose and walked to the window. The legs of the girl downstairs were really white. Just when everyone was blowing the comparison, the time had reached 10 o'clock unconsciously. The official website of the Southwest Digital Federation will refresh the rematch information on time. Qin Luo was smug. He was ready to be baptized by the Shueba. Swish, the official website of the Southwest Mathematical Association shows. Beishan City Team, Qin Luo 50 points, Lin Shan 28 points, Huang Jin 29 points. The total score is 156 points. Chengyu City Team, Bai Chong 35 points, Zhou Haiba 30 points. A total of 133 points. Gongkou City Team, Lin Tao 28 points, Go Xia 25 points. A total of 127 points. The next few urban areas are all between 100 and 120 points. Everyone in front of the screen was stunned. The traditional strong team Chengdu Chongqing City Team, this time, came second, and Beishan City, which had been the tail of a crane for a long time, turned into a leader. Their total score is as high as 156 points, which means that the average score per person is as high as 30 points. What's even more exaggerated is that there are still people who have scored full marks. This must be understood that the difficulty of the provincial team re-examination questions has increased too much compared to the previous ones, and even the demonstration of the Königsberg 7 bridges theory was added. Logically speaking, with the level of current high school students, no one can write this question at all. Taking it 10,000 steps back, even if someone writes, it is impossible to get full marks. Because the subjectivity of this question is too strong, it is absolutely impossible to get full marks unless the arguments are well-founded and well-founded. However, Qin Luo broke through common sense, and in this way, he won the impossible score. Ding! The host's knowledge stunned everyone. and the mastery value plus 178. Ding! The host's knowledge stunned everyone, and the learning hegemony value plus 156. A series of prompts sounded, and Qin Luo's ears were buzzing. In just a few seconds, Qin Luo received more than 2,000 Shuaba points. And it's still rising.